Well, guess what time it is? The favorite time of every Wednesday. I'm gonna let y'all think. Okay, y'all taking too long. It's time for the Ruby Girl talk. And tonight I have one, two, three, four guests with me. So I know it's unusual for me to be surrounded by so many amazing women. Maybe it's unusual to y'all, but to me, it's just the norm. So tonight I am so excited because we're doing part two of our interview with Dr. Elizabeth and her co authors, and she has some more co authors with her. I can't wait for them to introduce themselves. But before we get started, ladies and audience, this is what I want you to do. So, ladies, go on my page. Find the video, share it to your page. That way, your people won't be typing my name in wrong or trying to figure out where is she at. I really wanted to support her, but I couldn't find it. And then, audience, we're going to do something that's free and easy. Share, click the like button. There you go. Just click it. Take that mouse. If the mouse going all over the page, steady that hand. Click that share button. And so that way, more people can see what you're seeing, because what these ladies have to say tonight is very impactful. Is also serious because a lot of women in corporate are suffering. So tonight we're going to talk about the anthologies, Letters to My Corporate Sisters, Volume 2. But before we get started, what I'm going to do is tell you about Ruby Girl. Some of y'all are new. So Ruby Girl comes from Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? Because her price is far above the price of a ruby. So I always say this special is just for the ladies. It makes you rare, virtuous, and also valuable. So isn't it something that God put our worth just in that one little verse in the Bible? Because I think he knew that the enemy was going to try to come after our worth and our value, and we was going to struggle with trying to find out who we are and go through the imposter syndrome and go through so much as women. But he always wanted us to be able to go to that verse and see a woman that walked in her calling, to see you within that Proverbs 31 plus woman. Because if you notice, she doesn't have a name. So I want y'all to read Proverbs 31:10 plus and insert your name in there, because you are just as powerful as that virtuous woman is. So let's get it started. So we're going to start with, all right, let's see. Dr. Stella. No, I'm just kidding. I got you, Dr. Stella. We're going to start with Dr. Elizabeth.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome, Ruby Girl and Ruby Girl followers, and those of you out there tuning in for this awesome show tonight. I'm Elizabeth, Dr. E. Carter, PhD, your corporate elevation strategist. I empower women of color to move from being unseen and unheard to being vocal, visible, and valued in the corporate workplace. I'm excited to have these co authors here with me this evening for my Letters to My Corporate Sisters, Volume 2. Hopefully, you all got Volume 1 I produced last year. There's so many more stories, so many more women, so many more people need to hear and understand that the struggle is real, but we have solutions for you. So I'm excited about Volume 2 that'll be coming out in July of 2024. Thank you for having us, Dr. Karen.
Oh, you're welcome. And July is it's almost here.
Yes, it
We're like
is.
days away from, what's this, the 25th?
hmm
Wow. So it's coming up real fast. But let me tell you, I did read volume one, and it was some real good stories in there. Really, really good stories. And they were very impactful. So, Miss Willie Mae, will you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. And thank you so much for having me on Ruby Girl. My name is Willie Mae Star White, and I am your empathy expert. I am the I turn uncertainty into a silver lining. I was in Toastmasters for 17 years, and now I am an author of 4 books, of course, Amazon bestsellers. And now I come to you with my expertise and my experience just to help you to go into the corporate field with more experience. Thank you so much.
That was wonderful. Great job. Great job. All right. Miss Yvonne, you are next.
Hi, Dr. Karen. How are you?
I'm finding you.
Thank you for having me on Ruby Girl.
You're welcome.
And I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. and I am a domestic violence confidant. I have been wanting to find my platform, and I just thank God that I met Dr. Carter, and she has helped me with my brand. And now I have a lot to share. I have experiences that I can share, and that's why I'm here to help the domestic violence victim and survivors. Thanks for
I,
having me.
you're welcome. I'm speechless because that's the connection, right, Dr. Elizabeth? Okay, I caught on real quick. We definitely have to connect, Miss Yvonne. We definitely do. Because I actually have a journal for women that are experiencing domestic violence. So we definitely have to connect.
Thank
All right.
you.
You're welcome. And thank you for that introduction. Dr. Stella, you're next.
Yes, thank you, Dr.
You're
Karen.
welcome.
And I want to say thank you for having me on Ruby Girl Show.
You're
And I'm
welcome.
very happy that my friend, Dr. Carter, has already started making me to make the spotlight for good reasons. So, as I said, this is going to be an inspiring conversation because every viewer today will get something out from what I will share with you. I am that immigrant woman who came from Nigeria, who had 4 children. And despite having 4 children, still went ahead to use all my challenges and all the setback to prepare myself to the next level of not only getting masters, but also getting PhD in public health, to add to my MD, also a registered nurse and a certified professional healthcare quality, a certified case manager with Lean Six Sigma Green and Black belts. And I believe that the only way that we can have a good healthcare delivery system, it's when we start speaking to people to let them understand that prevention is cheaper and safer. And what again did my challenges do to me? My challenges helped me to be a good leader, a leader who leads with empathy, compassion, and mutual respect. Knowing where I'm coming from, I can feel what people feel. I can relate with them. When moms are speaking, I know what it means to have 4 children to do school runs and to still be executive that's working in a corporate world where women are not treated fairly. So I am very happy to be on this show today. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That was an amazing introduction. You are definitely corporate. Definitely corporate, the things that you're doing. And what I like what you said about prevention. If I think when it comes to money, you would think they would try to prevent a lot of things that go on instead of dealing with a lot of things, that we should just have an annual cancer screening. I'm giving some ideas out there. So when you go on your next meeting and you sitting at that boardroom with all those important people, throw that out there on the table for them. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. We're going to get into the show because I got a lot of interesting questions to ask you, and especially after those amazing introductions. So we're going to put Dr. Elizabeth on the mic first. So, Dr. Elizabeth, you have been on the show quite a few times. So I just want to know how well everybody has been listening to your mind-blowing story, and also how well do your authors, your co-authors really know you. So I want you to tell us your story, but I want you to put a truth in there, and then I want you to put I'm gonna say a false in there. And let's see if the co-authors or the audience can guess what was really the false. We're gonna say the false. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my underlying story, which really drove me to have this idea for this book. This idea has been in my head for years, but I finally put pen to paper last year with volume one because back in 2016, I was working for a company in Delaware, and I thought I was killing it, working nights, weekends, raising my hand for everything, getting involved in all the different projects, programs, working with different groups. And even though we were a subsidiary of the parent company, there were still opportunities for folks out of my office, even though I did see a lot of changes, restructuring, downsizing. But I knew I was a valued employee. They would never get rid of me. And in February of 2016, my boss called me into her office. And meanwhile, I had helped prepare the budget. And the budget had 6 people being laid off. And when she called me into the office, I was worried. I was like, am I going to get fired today? What's going on? But she proceeded to tell me that I was being retained. But I had to be involved in the transition of the work of the other employees, the 6 who were being laid off as part of that budget change. So at that time, I was concerned about myself because, hey, I made it past this round, but there's always more to come. And I knew I wasn't prepared. And I know that often women, especially, are not prepared if there is a sudden change in their work status. That's why I created my company Appeal. That's why I provide training programs and uplifting through my speeches, presentations. I have my Corporate Sisters Network on Facebook where I'm curating information to that group. So that is the story of how my company Appeal was birthed and my ongoing love to empower women to have a voice and really be inspired and motivated to understand that they add value and that they are worth it.
Amen. All right. Now that was great. That was a great story. So what do y'all think was false in her story? If you're listening out there, I want you to put in the chat. If you heard her story before, then you know it. What do you think that was false? Which one of you co-authors wanna take a stab at it? Don't be
I want to
scared.
say that she said she was retained, and I don't believe she was retained.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say.
All
I'm,
right.
I'm
Yvonne.
the way that she began saying it, I don't think that she was returned.
Nope,
Yvonne.
I'm not, wasn't that lucky.
Nope. Tell them what really happened, Dr. E.
So what really happened was, first of all, I'm in finance, and the finance team does the budget. I did the budget, and I budgeted because I was told to put 6 people in to get laid off in June. Come to find out, I'm one of the 6. So yes, when I
Mm.
got called in that day,
Wow.
she said to me, "Your last day is June 30th." Now, at least they gave me some months notice, unlike most recently where I have 5 minutes. So I think, again, but I was ready this time. So that's the part 2 of that story in 2016. Here I am, 8 years later almost, same thing, very similar, but different in that I was ready and I could see the signs where back then there were signs that I missed.
Wow. That's amazing for that to happen twice in a woman of your caliber, a woman of your experience and
Yeah.
your education. So, we think we go to school, we get these degrees, we get these certifications, and we do stand out from other people in the company that don't have it. And you would think that I'll be the last person that they would even think of letting go. Nobody would have me do a budget to lay people off, and I'm one of those people to
Wow.
be laid off. So that shows you how life can twist and life can turn. But you got to be like Dr. Elizabeth and be ready. And that's why Dr. Elizabeth is a coach that will help you be prepared. And I like what she said. And ladies, you got to agree with this when she said sometimes when things happen in women's life, we're not always ready for it. And it makes me think about that you are very right. A lot of times women find themselves um their whole narrative change. Somebody's married and their husband come in and say, "Hey, I'm divorcing you." And she's never paid a bill before. She's never had a job before. So you're right. Things like this happen to us, ladies. Ladies, we have to be prepared. We have to have that contingent plan. Every corporation has a contingent plan. If this happens, we're going to do this. If this building blows up, where are we going to go to do our work? So we got to have a contingent plan. So I hope tonight by listening to these lady stories and also ordering this book when it come out in July, Letters to My Corporate Sister, Sisters, Volume 2, that from reading that book, it'll get your mind working and get you ready for your next. So we're going to start with Yvonne and Dr. Stella. So I'm going to ask y'all this question. I want y'all to weigh on this. What common challenges do you see in corporate that need to be changed?
Hmm.
Let Yvonne go first.
Okay.
Well, you got that, Stella. Uh, um, well, I can reference from years ago
Mhm.
with women in the corporate sector where women were seen and not heard. And it was a male dominating corporate world. And what I've seen was they were more concerned about the corporate sister's anatomy, more so than their brain. That they were more concerned about how high is her skirt, how tight is her dress, what kind of high heels does she have on. So it was more so they were not looking at the brain of the corporate sisters. They were just looking at the beauty of the corporate sisters, and because they don't take women seriously. But today it's different. Women are stronger, they're more dedicated, and they're more determined. You can't tell them today what they cannot do. Because once a corporate sister puts her mind to it, she can do anything she wants. And that's what I see.
That's good. I never thought about that. And that's why we have so many laws in place about sexual harassment.
Exactly.
Imagine the sexual harassment that our sisters face in corporate back in the days when there was nothing to protect them. And the men probably saw as they just glad they have a job, so they're going to do anything to keep the job. Never thought about that. That's great. Thank you, Miss Yvonne. Dr. Stella.
Thank you. I would say, from my own perspective, I would like my corporate sisters to make some changes in areas that I have observed working in corporate space for more than 18 years now. So I would tell every corporate sister that you should be your best self cheerleader. Corporate sisters are always not ready to share their accomplishments because they think that when they do so, people will think that they are forceful or they are too bold or confident. But hey, you come with not just opinions, but with numbers, with data. And I'm that type of corporate sister that I'm never shy to be on the stage and announce to the world the value that I bring to the table. We need more women in the corporate space that will be confident of themselves, of what they offer. Be proud of your brand. If you have taken time to invest in yourself, don't be shy about it. It's not just your how beautiful you look, but you
Mm-hmm.
got something upstairs.
Exactly.
And people need to see that. People
Mm-hmm.
need to hear that. And people need to feel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes women are in this mindset that I'm going to let someone speak for me. But hello, you tell your story the best way. You write your book how you want people to read it. So I want to tell my dear sisters that please, if you got that, flaunt it. Don't be shy. But do it humbly. Do it in a way that is very professional. When it comes to a corporate space, remember, professionalism and ethics still count, right? So in as much as you don't want to be quiet about your accomplishment, be careful again at how you go about it so that people won't see you as that one who is very braggy. But at the same time, please don't be quiet. Don't be shy about your accomplishment. For me, I am my best self-motivator. I am my best self-influential person in the world. I am my best self-cheerleader. And I do it with numbers, not just with opinion.
I love that. Thank you. Ladies, we got to show up with confidence. And I think that's what is really lacking in our corporate sisters because I'm talking for the African Americans, we can sometimes come across a little rough when we speak up,
Mhm.
because I think we probably feel like we're not being heard. And when we finally speak up, there might be sometimes just a little, I'm going to let you know that I know or I got something to say. But you're right, we have to remain professional. I mean, you got to think about it. Some people can tell somebody off in such a professional way. I don't know if I hate to even say this, but I think some congresswoman or something, she tried to insult one of the sisters. She said she was reading something. She said,
Yeah, I remember that.
"Yeah, you can't see it through those false eyelashes," and
Mhm,
she
yeah.
called her a bad butch
And
body something
Butch
beach.
body blonde, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
she did it in such a way that it wasn't. How can I put it? It wasn't, would I say, unprofessional in a
right.
way, because they got t-shirts out now. The fact that it was impactful, and it backed the girl up off of her, because she was trying to be funny with her, but she didn't cuss at her. She didn't call her no big name. She just kind of put some creative words together. I'll just put it like that. And so, yeah, she's branding that. As a matter of fact, I read
Yeah.
the other day. I said, okay, I wouldn't have came up with that comeback. But thank you,
Yeah.
Yvonne, and thank you,
Mhm.
Dr. Stella. So, Miss Willie Mae, don't want to forget about you, but I'm gonna give you your own question. What
Mhm.
impact do you think these letters in this book will have on the readers?
I honestly believe that they will have a mental impact as well as a physical impact. Now, let me explain. The only reason I'm saying that's because this book is like a survivor guide with so much struggle and resilience. Each woman is telling their story of how they got through some of the obstacles and hurdles. One of the things that I'm focusing on in my book is body shaming and all the forms that it come into. And a lot of people don't understand that it goes hand in hand with micromanaging. So I want to bring a lot of that to the front so that our corporate sisters will understand and they can create and have that awareness and be able to promote more kindness as well as that inside the corporate work world where we can accept ourselves and celebrate diversity and uplift our uniqueness instead of trying to be like what's the latest fad or whatever a star have on or everybody's trying to do the selfie filters, instead of just being authentic. What's wrong with just being yourself? So I really believe that the impact that it's going to have is it's going to inspire our corporate sisters. It's going to encourage our corporate sisters. And is it going to strengthen them? And it's going to be able to help on every aspect. That's what I love about the letters to our corporate sisters. There's different aspects and different struggles that we are able to provide a solution for you to.
Hmm. It's a survival guide.
That survival guide.
It's a
And just
go-to.
one comment, Willie Mae's two-time letters to my corporate sister. She was in the first book and she's in the second book. So that means she's got a totally new story to tell. So there's tons of stories we all have individually. So we'll just keep sharing and sharing. As many stories as we need to that we have, we are doing it.
Y'all making a change. All right, we're going to go to our break. So we're going to take a 60-second break. I'm going to go on Facebook and see what everybody is talking about. And Dr. Elizabeth is going to give us a 60-second talk. Dr. Elizabeth, go right ahead.
Come off mute. Thank you so much. I appreciate you always, Dr. Karen. Again, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Carter. I'm your corporate elevation strategist. As you can hear us in this conversation, we have stories to share, and I know you all have things that you are going through also. I will encourage you to please purchase this book when it comes out. We'll be doing our Amazon ebook bestseller campaign first, then we'll have the paperback. But if you know, based on what you're hearing from these ladies, two things. One, that you are struggling and need to get out of your own way, please reach out to me. And if you have a story that you want to share, I would love for you to be part of Letters to My Corporate Sisters Volume 3 in 2025. This is not a once and done, this is not a twice and done. This will be an ongoing project every single year because I told 10 stories last time. I'm telling 6 stories this time. There's thousands and millions and billions of stories out there. And I want to be able to touch everyone either through them reading the book or by them sharing their story or both. So I appreciate everyone being out here today listening. And I thank you for your time and look forward to you purchasing the book.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Dr. Elizabeth. Thank you so much for that talk. Every year, huh?
Yes, I was thinking more than once, but it's a lot. So just once a year. Yes.
That is great. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
making up for lost time, right? So, here's the comments. Most people commented about your story, and they kind of got it right. We have quite Blair Cherie got it right. Tasha Williams, she got it right. Let me see. Dr. Elizabeth left a comment for us. I don't know which one of y'all she was talking about, but she said you was right on point. So those are all the comments that I see out there. If there's any more, I'm sorry. That's all Facebook is limiting me to see. But I want to thank everybody that's out there in the audience. Give yourself a hand. Y'all doing so great. Y'all are so quiet. I am so amazed at y'all. But thank you so much, seriously, for watching the Ruby Girl Talk Show. So this is the second part of the show, and so in this second part, we're going to talk more about their stories. I mean, they gave you like a hint of their personality. They gave you a kind of a hint of what they wrote in the book. But now you can get kind of a preview, just a little bit, because we want you to buy the book. So we're going to start with Dr. Elizabeth. She got a conference coming up. So I want her to tell you about the conference and then what she wrote in the book this time. Go ahead, Dr. Elizabeth.
Yes, thank you. So,
You're
in addition
welcome.
to the book, I did also last year a live event in Pittsburgh called Corporate Sisters Unite. And I'm doing it again this year, August 3rd in Pittsburgh. Even if you don't live in Pittsburgh, we have an airport, we have buses, we have trains. You can get here, you can drive. The turnpike is right here by us. And it's a day of empowerment, networking. I have a keynote speaker, Tiana Von Johnson. She is a corporate woman, became a millionaire in real estate at age 27 and quit. She said, I want to be an entrepreneur. So she has that mindset from the corporate world and the struggles as an African American woman in real estate, another male dominated world, that she made it and then said, I want to do my own thing. So she will come and empower us, just as she did last year. I also have some other speakers coming this year. We'll have our authors do a panel discussion. We'll have some mastermind sessions. We will eat, of course, and it'll be a beautiful day, August 3rd in Pittsburgh. Corporate Sisters Unite 2024. It's out on Eventbrite if you want to go out and take a look, buy your ticket. If you use the promo code SAVE25, capital SAVE 25, it will take $25 off of your ticket. So I offer that to the Ruby Girl audience as they are listening to us right now. And my chapter, this time, I will be talking about a couple of things. The main one being microaggressions. So, as we think about the evolution of discrimination, racism in the workplace, yes, we have a lot of rules and processes to really minimize that. But now we're seeing a lot of microaggressions because it's so subtle. You can't tell if they were kidding or they really have an issue or there's some type of bias. So my chapter will be about that in a couple of situations where one truly probably was just an honest mistake, but they continued on and then it started to feel like something different. So that's just a little taste of what I will be sharing in my chapter.
I'm so curious. What was it? I know she's not going to tell us, but we have to get the book. We
That's
have to
right.
get the book. Thank you, Dr. Elizabeth. I pray success for your conference. And like I said, I'm going to back her up. I'm going to promote her because Dr. Elizabeth is top tier when it comes to anything that she do. She over delivers. You pay her $50, you're going to get $500 worth of value from her. And that's the one thing I like about her. I like the standard that she holds. So, if you come into her event, you would not be disappointed. It'd be worth the train and the airplane ride. Do you have a boat ride? Somebody might say they can't get there unless it's by boat. So, however you get there, motorcycle, whatever, just get there and be there to support Dr. Elizabeth. So, Miss Willie Mae, can you tell us about your chapter in the Letters to My Corporate Sisters, Volume 2? I just want it to be to me. That's why I keep saying sister.
Thank you so much. My chapter is basically about overcoming the love for yourself and loving your inner self and not allowing people to bully you and being brave enough to finally stop that unwanted behavior and to be able to recognize it, stop it, and address it. And a lot of us go through a lot of abuse at work, a lot of bullying, body shaming, which comes in so many different patterns. It could be body shaming about your body, your weight. It could be about your hair, your clothing. And just to have you understand the different forms of body shaming so that you are aware and you are able to brace yourself and to be able to fight back. Because at the end of the day, you are uniquely you. No one else can be you. So there's nothing wrong with you. And my chapter focuses on positivity. Thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
a little bit.
I see. Um, did you go through this? Look.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because the thing about it, a lot of people don't realize that body shaming can cause depression. It can cause people to start eating or not eating or not socializing. It can cause so many things. And I know firsthand, I had to go through counseling.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You seem really confident. So we definitely gotta read your chapter to get to that level of confidence that you are. But you're right, body shaming.
Yes.
Um, it really affects you to the point that sometimes you don't like yourself,
Yeah.
and you become very self-conscious. And people think by body shaming you, it'll make you get yourself together. But I can tell you, I remember I worked with this lady, and she was trying to diet every single week. She got on this one diet that she shouldn't have got on, and she was on her way to work. Well, she came to work, made it downstairs, and had an accident. Had to turn right around and go home. She This shows you she's tried every type of diet, and we just was like, why she not losing weight? She's always on a diet. Well, when I got to be 50, I understood where she was stuck at.
Yes.
You try and try, and you just that 50 just want to be a little tired around your waist. And
Mhm.
now I understood why she was always on a diet, because she was trying to
Yes.
find the right thing. And we used to
Mhm.
laugh at, we were like in our 30s. So we used to
Oh.
laugh like, what's the problem? And every week it was something new. So you're
But
right,
our
body
body
shame.
changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was very, and she wasn't a big woman, you know, but
Isn't
she
that
just
amazing?
Yeah, she just always was on a diet, always trying something, no matter how embarrassing it was or whatever, she tried
Wow.
it. Wow. So thank you so much, Willie Mae. Thank you so much. Dr. Stella, can you tell us about your chapter?
Yeah, thank you. We just want to give a tip of the iceberg so that people can go out there and get this book when it comes out. But
Yes.
my story is inspiring in the sense that I am that woman that has, that a woman that blended her resilience and faith in God to overcome challenges. Because I believe so much and strongly in Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. The moment I got to John F. Kennedy, I realized that I left everyone that I love in my life, my mom, siblings, to be here to meet with my husband, to start another chapter in my life. It was not just a cultural shift, but a cultural shock. All the challenges and all the barriers. And I began to ask myself, do you really want to do this? Did you make a wrong decision to leave everyone you grew up with that you loved your entire life? It was, a situation where you find yourself to be lonely in the midst of people. That was the level of homesickness that I developed when I got here. But the good news is this. Every challenge, every barrier, every no that I got propelled me to my next level. And I said to myself, you are better than the best excuse you will have not to make it in this foreign land. And today, when I look back, like I have shared a little bit in the book, Letters to My Sisters, Corporate Sisters, the takeaway for me is this. No matter where you find yourself, the only limitation you will have, it's the one that comes from you. Because your mindset, the approach that you would take, don't be afraid of taking the risk. Because it's in getting no that you will actually realize how hard you have to work. And again, you will know that agree with me that here we talk about African Americans, we talk about people of color, but then people don't talk much about immigrant Black women. We have unique challenges, right, that are not often mentioned all the time. Talk about the health disparities, the way it affects immigrant women. Talk about all the challenges, cultural, when it comes to even dietary acculturation, when it comes to language, people who grew up in a place that English was not their first or their primary language, but overcoming these challenges, for me, turned into a ladder that I used to climb to my heights today. So I'm telling my corporate sisters that, you know what? You may have challenges, you may have difficulties, but do not allow that to stop you. Use every challenge and know that you got to prepare yourself to the next level. So my sisters, you're going to read more of this when you get that book. There's a lot to learn from all of us here, the co-authors. So thank you again for giving us the platform to at least share a little bit about what is in that Letters to My Corporate Sisters.
You're right. We don't think about the immigrant women that comes. I mean, we that's here, we have our own barriers. You have those barriers and then more. Like you say, you love everything that you love to come over here. That was a risk. That showed that you was a woman of risk. Not too many people would do that in their own country without leaving a country and going to another one. So I do admire your strength. I can tell that you are a strong woman, that you are an overcomer. You have no problem with risk, and that's why you sit where you sit in corporate, and you need to sit even higher than what you're sitting. And I hope that your bosses, your managers, and those up in the C suite see your worth and your value. I
Thank
really
you.
hope they do. You're welcome. Miss Yvonne,
Hi.
it's time for you to tell us about your chapter.
Okay.
Woo.
My chapter is about domestic violence, of course. I am a former domestic violence victim. And the first time I witnessed domestic violence was with my mother. I was a young girl, and I vowed not to be a domestic violence victim, but unfortunately, I became one. And the title of my book is When Makeup Doesn't Cover the Story Behind the Pain. And I have tragic stories in my chapter that will tug on your heartstrings. And there's actually one story that I would never forget for the rest of my life. And before I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh, I did my internship with the Pittsburgh Police. And I toured the department, different departments within the Pittsburgh Police, the Bureau, and toured the domestic violence unit. And it was then when I figured out what my calling was. And that was to advocate against domestic violence. Actually, I've been advocating for quite some time, but it's not until I met Dr. Carter is when I was able to create my platform. And there is so many different types of abuse, and I've been through quite a few of them. There's your sexual, there's your emotional, there's your physical, there's your verbal, there's your monetary. There's so many types of abuse that I will be discussing later on. But for the most part, I always say you have to take care of yourself. Never be afraid to speak up for yourself. I am a domestic violence confidant, and that is that anybody who's having a problem with talking to anybody, a friend, a family member, they can always come to me because whatever they tell me, because 9 times out of 10, they want to vent. So if they come to me, that means it's in a vault. So you don't have to worry about being afraid that I'm going to tell somebody your secret because that's not what I'm here for. So, with that being said, I just hope that I can help the next victim to move forward in their life without being paralyzed anymore. They're paralyzed right now, but they'll be a victor in the end. And I want to thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. I, I don't know if audience, if you notice, these are completely different stories that I wouldn't think would be coming out of corporate. I'm gonna be honest. You know, things that we have overlooked, things we see every day, but we've been blinded to. Domestic violence, women that work in corporate that are going through domestic violence. How do they show up? And we might look at them and be
Exactly.
like they late all the time, they miss
See?
work, or they
Yes.
show up with a lot of makeup, or or
Yeah.
I gotta leave, I
Yes.
gotta go. But we see them
Exactly.
as a bad employee, or we
Exactly.
see
No.
somebody not really like she always got something going on, not really understanding what's really going on in our household. And God forbid if the abuser comes up to the job, her job could be at stake. Never
That's
thought about
another
that.
that's another story that I have in my chapter is that exactly. How a employee had to be protected. And yes, there are women in corporate who I know that is going through it. And there's different signs. There's black eyes. There's makeup that covers the black eyes. There's rings around your neck. There are turtlenecks that you wear in the summer. And some of those I just described actually happened to me. So I know.
Wow. So tonight we talked about so far domestic violence as it relates to corporate, um, being an immigrant, an African American immigrant, and the cultural changes that you experience, and then also body shaming. these are three topics, Dr. Elizabeth, that how did you even think to, to tie this in to corporate?
Well, again, it gets back to there's lots of stories, there's lots of
Yeah.
hidden challenges, lots of barriers. There's certain ones that we always talk about, but these again are getting to the meat of the matter. So it's just a matter of asking, do you have something you want to share? And people say yes. And again, you never know. So I got, even the other two from last week, total different stories, totally different situations that you would never think about, but it's happening to a lot of women.
Mhm.
Wow. Whew, this has really made me look at things differently. It really is. I just see myself going to work. Now I'm gonna take a deeper look at the people that's around me. We might not take things seriously, like somebody who's been on a job and they just absolutely hate the job, feel trapped, everything. It seemed like you said, every sister has a story that has worked in corporate, and every story is different. So if you're out there listening, I want you to think about your corporate story. Think about if these ladies had decided not to share, not to connect with Dr. Elizabeth, not to catch on to the vision, not to take advantage of the opportunity to share their story, to get it out there. So you probably sitting on your story. You probably got a heart dropping story just like they do, a perspective that we haven't even considered yet. So I want you to even think about setting up a call with Dr. E. Just have a conversation with her. She's a coach, she's an author, she's a speaker. So she has a lot of great things of value. And sometimes, Dr. E, we're scared to connect with women like you because, and Dr. Stella and Willie Mae and Yvonne, because we feel like y'all are up there, and we're not up there, that it's almost like y'all unreachable, or y'all these super women. How did they get it done? How did Dr. Seller manage home and manage all that she do? And how did Willie Mae go through all that? But she comes bold and confident. I can't even see anybody messing with you, Willie Mae. I really can't. It just seems like you would just put them in their place with a southern charm and a little smile, but you never know. You never look at you, Yvonne, and think that you was a domestic victim.
Mhm.
Never. Wow. This is
So
good.
that's the whole intent. We're telling the story of where we were X number of years ago. Because
Yeah,
again, each one of us was that person. So
yeah.
we are telling stories of what we've been through. So
Mhm.
we shouldn't, and we've made it. So the
Yeah.
intent is that I would want to talk to somebody who's made it through. So hopefully
Exactly.
that we're not so high that nobody wants to come talk to
Mm-mm.
us. They should be running to us because
Yes.
they need to understand, how can I move faster? How can I get through this faster? I don't want to be X, fill in the blank
Mm.
anymore. I need to get out of the situation now. So it
Mhm.
really is a call to action that this book is, because
Exactly.
we are here to help. We really are.
And
And
that's
that is
how,
also, that is why I connected my style of leadership. Like oftentimes, right? Not only in the healthcare delivery system, you will see that we are very prescriptive when it comes to giving member-centric or patient-centric care. But nobody talks about giving individual-centric leadership, knowing that people differ, people are different. The problem I have is unique to me. And if you have to be an effective and a good leader that leads with empathy, one size fits all does not work for a team. You got to get to the level that you know your team members at individual levels. Who could tell that my beautiful sister comes with beautiful makeup, with beautiful smile, that is being abused at home, going through domestic violence? Who could tell that me, Stella, I have 3 children to run around for? Even at a point that I relocated, my husband was in New York, I'm here in PA. I saw myself living like a father and the mom of these 4 children at a time. So there are people have different issues. If we have that at the back of our mind, our leadership style will change. And we begin to put people first, even before we put the work they do for us. So that is a connection here, that every story and challenges that each and every one of us we have gone through, it's telling a good story about us and the way we are today, right? Leading with empathy, compassion, respect for people, leading with grain of nature, knowing that we are human beings first,
Mm.
right? And because
Yes.
we are vulnerable, because we are not portraying that picture that I am a superwoman, I'm a superhero, and then why do you want people to share with you when you're living impression that you are perfect?
Mm.
Right? So for
Mhm.
us, nobody should be afraid of reaching us. I have different mentees on LinkedIn. I'm speaking to someone in England. I haven't even met them. I don't know them. They're not my relatives, but they reach out and they were respectively accepted. And now we are talking to the audience that are listening to Ruby Girl Show that we are available. We want to impart other sisters to make
Yes.
them come to the level and even exceed the level where we are today.
So y'all hear that invitation out there. They're telling you, look, we are approachable. Let's move past that barrier mindset. Sometimes we stay low because we're scared to connect with people that's high. Listen, they're people just like us. They've been through some of the same things that we've been through. So we're going to close out. This went really too quick, but we're going to close out. And Dr. E, do you want to close out first or you want to have the parting remarks?
I'll close. I'll do the final remark.
Okay, so I'm gonna give everybody else 1 minute. Do you want to go last or you still want to go first?
No, I'll go last.
Okay, all right. So we'll start with Dr. Stella. Give us a 1 minute closeout.
My sisters out there, you are your best self motivator. You are your best self cheerleader. Do not allow anyone make you feel that you don't bring enough to the table. For the fact that you're even a sister, that has said it all. You can be all that you want to be. And everyone who is planning, remember please that African American, especially immigrant Black women, they have unique barriers. So when you plan, please remember to capture them in all your strategic plans and assist them. And I'm happy that we have sisters here that feel and care for all of us.
Give us your contact information. I want each one of y'all to share your contact information. It's a
Yeah, on
website or
LinkedIn, I
something.
am
Mhm.
on LinkedIn as Dr. Stella Onoha Obulo, the same name that I use on Facebook, the same name that I use on Twitter. Please reach out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
Miss Willie
welcome.
Mae?
Thank you so much. What I want to leave everyone with is that it is better to be your authentic self. Body positivity is about being strengthened with your own self love. And if you can't focus and be good to yourself, it's going to be hard for other people to be good to you. First, you have to nourish yourself, accept who you are, look at the beauty, the inward beauty of who you are, the gift that God gave you, your only unique gift, only to you. And there's nothing wrong with you. And in my chapter, I want to encourage you and inspire you to learn how to love yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you give your contact information?
I am known on LinkedIn and Facebook, Willie Mae Star White.
Okay. Made it real easy. Y'all tuned in.
Really.
Miss Yvonne?
Yes. I just want to leave everyone with some information who to contact. If you or someone that you know is in a domestic violence situation, please contact the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh at 412 687 8005 or the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It's open 24/7 at 800-799-7233. And my email is Yvonne Wilborn 682 at gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. E?
Yes, and thank you always, Dr. K, for allowing me to be on the Ruby Girl Show. I really appreciate your partnership. I thank my co-authors for joining me this evening. And thank you for saying yes to me to being in the book. And thank you for saying yes to sharing your story to empower other corporate women. My email is Elizabeth at EAC dash appeal, two A's, two P's, EAL.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, Elizabeth Carter, PhD, CPCU, or also on Facebook. I have Elizabeth Carter. I have my personal page and I have my business page, Appeal. So please reach out to me. You can DM me, send me an email. If you want to come out to Pittsburgh for the event, would love to have you. Or if you're having an event, we would love to come and bring corporate sisters to you. So I'm even looking to take this on the road to be able to share stories outside of Pittsburgh and other cities. So reach out. This is going to get bigger and bigger. So thank you again, Dr. K.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing tonight, giving us a different perspective on corporate, the different challenges that are there, and for us to show us that maybe to stop judging others, stop looking at not realizing that everybody has a different story, a different narrative when it comes to life. So I just want to thank all these ladies and for everybody that was out in the audience that participated in the chat and the quiz of the game of trying to find out what Dr. E was being false about. She did a very good job. For a minute, I was like, wait a minute, did that happen? But I just want to thank everybody. And I just want y'all to make sure you go out and support this book. It comes out July when, Dr. Elizabeth?
July 18th is going to be the Amazon bestseller campaign.
Okay, so we definitely want to help them reach best selling. So on that day, please remind me and I'll put something out and I ask all my followers to please go out there and buy the book so y'all can become best selling authors, fifth, fourth, second, third, whatever time. So I just want to say to everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tune in again next Tuesday at 8:30. But to you ladies, if you ever want to come back on the Ruby Girls show, you are always welcome. I really enjoyed you tonight. When I say this is very impactful, really got my mind moving. I am so glad that we connected. So to everybody on Facebook, we got to say good night. So thank you so much, everybody on Facebook, for watching. And if you haven't shared it, make sure you share it. Sharing is caring and it's free. All right. Have a good night, Facebook.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
now.
you.